Good morning, Southeast Missouri, and wherever you may be listening, this is the Retirement Playbook brought to you by Alspaugh Wealth Management. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Shore. Good morning, wherever you are, Tony Shore.
Good morning, Brock. I'm here in the studio, as you can see, having fun this morning. Great to see you. Great to be here with you. Should be a fun show, right? I'm excited
100%.
about this one.
Yeah.
I know you've been busy, though, this week.
It's pretty much been since the first of the year. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a nutty year, and it's okay. It's good. It's good. It's just really, really busy. Yeah.
It's wearing you out. You told me before the show you've had, in the last 2 weeks, 4 hours of sleep? Probably?
Yeah. Total.
Total. Yep. Yeah. Not a night. That would be a total for Brock. Yeah. No, you're
How you
doing good.
Tony? How you
Me,
doing?
I'm great. We celebrated my son's birthday last weekend, which was fun.
Yeah.
Always fun. He's 25 now, my oldest, believe it or not, and married. So my wife and I went out
Did you
with
guys have a birthday cake?
We actually did not have a birthday cake.
Okay, I would assume at 25 you don't get birthday cakes anymore.
Well, sometimes, but not this time. We went out to eat and brought him his gifts, and yeah. There's
awesome.
there's a shop we found in Orlando at Disney Springs, and the name of the shop is Shore, spelled just like our
Get
last
out
name.
of here.
And they have really high-end shirts made of really nice material that say Shore across them, and a really fancy water bottle with a tea diffuser that says Shore on the side. And we knew he would get a kick out of it. And so we got him that stuff.
That's cool.
A couple things from there he didn't know he was getting. So
yeah, awesome. Well,
and we took him out for lunch. So
good. Listen, we've got a great show lined up for people here today. We're going to talk a lot about people turning 65 in America. You've heard us say the terms. You've heard us say the words. There's 10,000 people turning 65 every day in this country and will for the next several years. We're going to talk about that and the impact of our economy here in a few minutes. But before we do, I want you to go to our website, folks. It's Alspaugh Wealth Management right there below the screen. Alspaugh Wealth Management. If you're listening on the podcast, ALSPAUGH Wealth Management, all spelled out. .com. Go to their website. You can find some great information to get started in your life. If you are wondering what you should be doing or making sure that what you're doing now is correct, you can get started today by going to our website, and you can contact us. You can request an appointment with me. You can give us a good old-fashioned phone call, 573-332-7855. But you can also order my book. The Last Paycheck is the name of it. How to Build Sustainable Retirement Income and Keep Those Paychecks Coming In. That's the goal. That's what everybody wants to do. Get that book today. And then also you can download our Roth conversion guide. Tony, this it has continued to be a very hot topic and a very popular topic with not just like what you're hearing out in the universe, in the investable universe. It's conversations I'm having every single week still with prospects and clients. Okay, what are we doing? Do we have an opportunity to do some Roth conversions that might make sense for you? Pay a little tax now, grow it tax free. I mean, it's a real story, and it's can be beneficial to a lot of people. So anyway, the Roth conversion guide that we have on our website can get you started as far as getting information. If you need a plan, give us a call, 573-332-7855. All right.
Sounds good.
Yes, absolutely. You ready, Tony?
I am so ready. What are we talking about? We're talking about, you said, I love the show name, the Silver Tsunami. And you mentioned it. I mean, I just read that more than 11,000 baby boomers are reaching 65 every single day and will for the next 4 years. That's what I've heard.
That is correct. And we're going to actually reference an article by CNBC titled, As Americans Reach Peak 65, Here's What to Know When Planning for Medicare and Social Security. And as you mentioned, Tony, 11,200. So it's more than what I'd said. I said 10,000, but 11,200 turning 65 every day from now through the end of 2027. So we got what, 3.5
That's crazy.
years?
That's nuts.
It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. So 3.5 years, roughly, a little bit more than that. of all of this happening. And as we know, Tony, at age 65, okay, what are we doing? We're eligible for Medicare,
Yep.
right? So, I know that people listening to this, if you are even close to turning 65, you probably been getting bombarded with Medicare mailers talking about, oh, you've got a different supplements and you got these prescription plans and you've got advantage plans. And I mean, and it can all get real confusing. I get it. But really, the most important thing is to work with a financial services professional, right? Not a call center, but a financial services professional that can help you pick out the right plan. Not only for, obviously you get A and B, we'll talk about that, but your prescription plans and your supplements or your advantage plan. So lots of different information out there. It's just a matter of like deciphering all the stuff, all the noise, Tony, and getting to what's best for you. That's what's the most important thing to do. JP Morgan study. Person who is turning 65 and covered by original Medicare will spend about $542 per month in cost. So, have we budgeted for this? We talk about the B word a lot, Tony. Though people want to avoid it. And, if you finally get to a point where you're ready to do it and create a budget, now you got to stick to it. And that's the hard part. Like, establishing a goal is pretty easy, right? Like I want to be the best at whatever I do, or if I want to do this or that, whatever your goal is, that's pretty easy to do, is to establish a goal. But what's hard is to get to the process as to how you're going to reach that goal. And so, getting a budget, but sticking to it is really important. But have you considered these costs? And if you're married, double it, right? You got two people to take care of there. So a little over $1,000 a month. Okay. Per study, at 95, same person will pay about $1,484 per month.
Wow.
Yeah, that's called inflation, folks.
Yep.
And again, Tony, you and I have discussed this several times on past shows. Look, if you're not considering taxes, if you're not considering inflation into your retirement income plan, you are missing the boat, right? In other words, you're probably going to be way off target from where you need to be.
Well, you just mentioned the big ones. Healthcare costs you were talking about. That's how much people are going to spend a month on healthcare. Even if they say, well, I have Medicare, I won't need to spend that much on healthcare, but you still have premiums, you still have deductibles, co-pays, and there still is a cost, and there's things Medicare doesn't cover. And then you mentioned taxes and inflation. I mean, those are the three. Taxes and healthcare costs in retirement are going to be the biggest two, right?
And inflation is a huge one, Tony. Yeah. If you're not considering, hey, we're doing a long-term projection of maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 years, because let's face it, Tony, it's not when you get to retirement, right? I mean, you still have inflation in retirement. And so if your retirement's going to last 25 years, that's a stark difference of what things cost today versus what it's going to cost at the end of your retirement. So because of inflation. And so that's a big one. And yes, of course, these are all perils that we need to look out for. Again, healthcare costs, like you mentioned, taxes for sure. And that's, goes back to the whole Roth conversion conversation of taxes. Okay, do we trade taxes now for something that could be tax-free when tax rates are going to be higher? I mean, I don't know about you, Tony, but I feel like tax rates might be higher in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, do you think? I think it's good. They're going to be higher in a year or two at the most, probably. I would assume they have to go up. Conventional wisdom says taxes will go up. We're at an all-time low.
Oh, no, Tony, wait a minute. No, we decided already in this show, just right now, that instead of increasing taxes, we're going to reduce spending. I'm not a comedian, but that was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. I should have given you the rim shot for that one.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would love to see in my lifetime. It's two things I hope happen in my lifetime.
Okay.
One, the Minnesota Vikings win a Super Bowl. And two, the government cuts spending. And I know the odds of either one of them happening in my lifetime I have a better chance of winning the
old
Powerball
Powerball.
jackpot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know about the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like they've been close,
They
but
have. Yeah. They've
yeah.
had a
Now
couple.
they got rid of Kirk Cousins, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Okay. So who
Now
you?
the draft is Thursday night. We're gonna trade up and get a good quarterback. So
Okay. So you didn't sign one after you let him go, then?
they signed the backup from San Fran. I forget his name.
Oh, not
He's not.
Garoppolo or
No, no, no,
Trey Lance.
no. I
No.
forget his
Okay.
name.
Well, anyway,
It's not important because he's not that great, but
he won't be the starter for you guys.
we'll see. Hey,
Yeah.
that's the problem. I think he will be the starter.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys will
Yeah.
hopefully, get somebody good in the draft. But anyway, the point is that tax rates are probably going to go up. Another thing interesting that we found in this article, Tony, is that they determined roughly 40% of households won't be able to maintain their pre-retirement lifestyle because of lack of reliable retirement income.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. And again, reliable income. I mean, part of that is what? Accounting for taxes. If you projected $50,000 of retirement income, you go, oh, yeah, I think I can live off that. Well, guess what? Now you got to pay 15% of that or 20% of that in taxes. Maybe that doesn't work.
Right.
Another issue is, and we saw this happen, by the way, is that with inflation, people that retired right, during COVID or right before COVID, all of a sudden they experienced 10% inflation and higher in some areas. And it's like, whoa, this is not what we planned for. And so do you have to make adjustments? Luckily, it's come down significantly and we're at about that 3% mark now. But the point is that life does happen and these black swan events do happen.
Yep.
That things that you don't expect, in other words. And so you got to be prepared for that. And so when you're talking about reliable retirement income, that's exactly what we're talking about. Pensions, right? Social
Right.
Security, income from your investments that might be guaranteed. So anyway, a lot of things go into that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, wait a minute. What about number 3? I've got a third one for you, Tony. What about 3 things that may not happen? The likelihood of me never eating a pizza again.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, taxes. Yeah, the government cutting spending and me cutting out pizza from my diet. Never going to happen.
All right, folks.
Not in my lifetime is what I'm saying.
All right. So one of the first things that those turning 65 during the silver tsunami. I feel like you need some kind of sound.
Tsunami. What do we have for a
tsunami.
tsunami?
I mean, come on.
I don't know. I don't know if I have anything for a tsunami. I mean, that's
Okay.
just
Yeah, that's yeah, you're right. You don't have anything for a tsunami.
okay.
But anyway.
Okay, that didn't work. I have an explosion.
I mean, yeah, I feel like some kind of wind noise or something.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't
Okay.
have that.
All right, so let's talk.
The next best thing is probably Huey Lewis.
Very okay. He's
When
having
in
too much
doubt,
fun
play
with the
Huey Lewis, Power
soundboard
of
now,
Love.
folks. He's having way too much fun with the soundboard now. All right, here we go. So when you turn 65, what's the biggest decisions you're going to make when it comes to your retirement? Is your health care, and that is Medicare. So as we know, Part A and Part B, right, is we're talking about what it looks like. Is your Part A is going to be for your hospital coverage, and then your medical insurance is Part B, talking about doctor's office and those kinds of things, or doctor's visit, excuse me. And then you have your Part D, which is your drug prescription plans. And so as we know, when you turn 65, you're going to be automatically enrolled in these things as long as you qualify. And so when you're doing that, you have to worry about the other 20% of your medical bills, because Medicare is only going to cover 80%. So most often people look at doing a supplement to cover that 20%, because who wants to pay for 20% of a medical bill nowadays? Nobody. And so a supplement really helps in that matter. So And what the nice thing about the supplement plans, Tony, whether you're looking at G or J or all these different no, letters, is that they've been standardized by the government to say, hey, you can have different companies that offer these plans, but they all have to have a minimum coverages for the same plan, right? So the plan G with at company X is basically the same plan as company Y when it comes to that same plan G. So anyway, so it's important that you shop that every year too, by the way. So we're talking about budgeting, we're talking about money, coming in, coming out. You want to make sure that, the one thing that will change from company X to company Y is definitely the premium. Okay. And so if you shop that every year, you might be able to save a few bucks because some companies may increase their rates and some may not, right, on specific plans. So shopping your Medicare Advantage or, your supplement is definitely really important. The other thing is that if you're going to consider a Medicare Advantage plan, some of them may include prescription drug plans, and they will replace basically A and B. Now, I'm kind of mixed on Advantage plans. I think sometimes it works, but if you can afford a supplement, I think the general rule here, Tony, that most financial services professional would agree on is that if you can afford a supplement plan, usually that's a better route to go than an Advantage plan. But it
Yeah,
does
you're
give
gonna have
you,
more complete coverage with
yeah,
the
for sure.
supplemental plan.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
again, that's the reason why you meet with a financial services professional. So, in our office, for example, we have Jason Lee. He's a specialist when it comes to Medicare and Medicare supplements and Advantage plans and prescription plans. So, you can call our office and talk to him about that. Again, his name is Jason Lee. Give us a call at 573-332-7855.
Yeah, I think that's great that you have a Medicare specialist on staff. Now, we've covered Medicare, and that's a good one. And I know next you wanted to talk about Social Security because
Right.
the way I see it, Brock, and correct me if I'm wrong here, we're talking about a silver tsunami, 11,000 plus people a day reaching retirement age for the next 4+ years. That's huge. And
Crazy.
the first thing I think of when I think of the silver tsunami, all these people retiring, is you've got 11,200 people a day retiring that are going to be filing for Social Security.
Yeah.
But do we have 11,000 plus new people a day entering the workforce to cover that? Because when we're paying in, and we're not paying in for our own Social Security, when we're during our working years, our Social Security tax goes to pay those who are retired and pulling Social Security.
Hence is why you've seen the statements, Tony, that show that if they don't make any changes by 2034, that we're going to be there's going to be reduced benefits.
Yeah, reduced benefits.
I
So
mean,
they've got to do something to shore it
got to
up
do
in the
something.
meantime,
That's right.
because that's a concern. And Social Security in general is such a big part of retirement planning. And you've said before in your own words, Brock, you call it the foundation
I do.
because it's a known quantity that you can figure out, and it's a check will be there. But there are so many aspects and filing strategies, right?
There are so many different things to consider. Not
Yeah.
only your own working record, but maybe a spousal benefit, maybe survivorship benefits, the own record for again for two people. And that's why, Tony, it's not uncommon. We run this software for people to come out with the optimized filing strategy. But it's not uncommon to see that 20,000 different calculations, right? Because you got two people and you've got 96 months from the time that they're eligible to age 70 to the latest they can defer their benefits. So it can be complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Again, we have a Social Security maximization report that we can do for folks. We just got to know what your PIA is, which is your primary insurance amount, which is essentially what your full retirement age benefit will be as far as a monthly benefit. If we can get that information, we can run that report for you. So, give us a call.
Just
Listen, the people that are turning 65, by the way, if you're turning 65 this year, your full Social Security age is 66 and 10 months. Okay. So if you didn't know that, your full benefit amount will be at 66 and 10 months if you turn 65 this year. And then the other part of that is that if you're looking at, and by the way, just because they're retiring, some people either have already taken have already retired, excuse me, just because they're turning 65 this year, for example, Tony, some people have already retired for 2 or 3 years, maybe
Sure.
longer, and, they already elected their benefits. Well, guess what? We can't do anything about that. And that's the
Right.
thing that we always stress, Tony, is that we want to make sure that people are educated and making the right decision about when and how to elect their benefits, because you can't change your mind. Okay. Well, you can, but there's some ramifications, and it's only within
Sure.
the first year. You got to pay it all back. I mean, so it's a mess.
It
So
gets
just do it right.
complicated.
It gets complicated. Okay. So, again, I mentioned that you're eligible at age 62 to take your benefits. And some people, Tony, will say, well, I want to start getting those checks because you never know how long I might live, you
Right.
know? And it's just, listen, I understand what you're saying, and I understand why you are saying it. And if you have some major health problems, or if you've got some major family history, by all means, do it. But for the
Yeah.
most part, and for most people, taking it at age 62 is not the best decision. Okay. Now, everybody's situation is different
True.
financially, health wise, family history wise. I get it. But I'm just saying, in general terms, it's not the best decision to take your benefits at age 62. Okay.
Yeah, you're
Um,
missing out on a lot. You're taking a greatly reduced benefit between
oh,
25 and
yeah.
30% less than you
Y-
could get if you waited. So that's
Exactly.
tough.
There's actually a sample in here, or an example of here, at 30% less if you took it at age 62 versus your full retirement age. And that means your payment at full retirement age would have been $1,000 more a month by waiting. I mean, that's a huge difference, Tony. Filing at age 62 would have left you with $700 a month. That's $3,600 less over the course of a year. I'm sorry. So that was $300 difference a month. I apologize. But you get the point. Okay. It's significantly more by waiting. Okay. Now, how long should you wait? Again, that's the importance of getting the Social Security maximization report, right? Is to make sure that you and your spouse are electing your benefits at the right time. Okay. Um, you know, it is so important because, like I said, it's the foundation of anybody's retirement plan. Is that the fact that I don't care how much money you have. If you got my $5 million, $5 million, doesn't matter. Who wants to leave money on the table, Tony? Like nobody. That's a
Yeah,
bad
no,
decision.
it is.
And so when you're talking about 70% of your benefits at age 62 versus at, 66 and 10 months for people turning 65 this year. And then we have to factor in too, Tony, the gradual increases all the way to age 70. So you got 3 years and 2 months of additional increases that might make sense for you.
Yeah, and the amount changes every single month during that period from when you turn 62 all the way up to age 70. Every month, when you file, makes a difference. And for some, you just want to find that sweet spot. But for others, there are other things to take into account. And that Social Security maximization report is huge. Like if you have a spouse, you mentioned spousal filing strategies. You don't want to leave your spouse in a bad situation, obviously. So
Yeah. So, and you're
right?
talking about, yeah, absolutely. 100%. And so when you're talking about an 8% increase, by the way, that's what it
Wow.
is.
Yeah.
That's just a delayed retirement credits. That's not
That's more than
considered.
a lot of people are making with their other
Right.
investments a year.
Right. And by the way, that's delayed retirement credit increases. Those are not the cost of living adjustments that are on top of the delayed retirement credits. So
Sure.
you have to understand that an 8% return from the time you turn your full retirement age to age 70 is a big difference. And like you said, you'd like to get that in your investments. But again, the Social Security maximization report is going to show you
Yeah.
exactly how to optimize your benefits. So
Yeah,
if
and
you
that's
need
gonna
that,
be our big call to action here. As
yeah,
as we get closer to the end of the show, I think what we should do is, you're offering that maximization report at no cost to our listeners out there. They just need to set up a consultation with your office. They can call and come in, get a second opinion on where they're at with their finances.
Yep.
And you'll look at where they're at, and there's no obligation. But then if they decide, hey, you can show them how you can make changes that would help them, run some reports, including the Social Security maximization report, right?
You got it. You got it. So you can call our office at 573-332-7855, or you can go right to our website and you can request an appointment with us right there on the front page. It says request a consultation. Click that button, and then we can, and if you want, you can put a little note in there that, hey, I'd like to see how to maximize my Social Security benefits, or I'd like to see the maximization report. That's fine. Put those notes in there, and then it will give us clear direction as to where you want to go and what you want to talk about. But that's it, Tony. That's it. That's the way we're going, man.
All right. Well, great show today. There is a silver tsunami going on right now, and I know that's one reason you've been so busy. Is a lot of these folks are your clients, and you've been helping them plan and prepare for retirement. And if you're in your 50s or you're nearing retirement, or maybe you just retired, you should be working with a financial professional. If you're not, that's for sure. And I happen to know a guy. I'm not going to name names, Brock Alspaugh, but yep, give him a call, 573-332-7855, or it's alspaughwealthmanagement.com. Great show today, Brock. Listeners, that does it for today's episode of the Retirement Playbook with Brock Alspaugh.